If you ask anyone right now in America who they think is the best women's basketball college player right now currently, you're going to hear one name. I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong answer to who you believe is the best women's college hooper in the game right now. But I will say this. There was a time where the person we said was the best women's college hooper in the country was Paige Bueckers. And for a lot of people, they just became women's college basketball fans probably a year ago, right? Really being immersed in it. But for a lot of us who have been watching women's college hoops, we understood the anticipation of Paige Bueckers when she hit the college scene, and especially that freshman year she had All-American honors, all the awards that you could think of. She gave us everything we needed to know that she was going to be one of them ones for a while. If you need a refresher, go type in Paige Bueckers freshman highlight tape. You'll see what I'm saying. I get we were robbed of seeing her in her totality for an X number of years because of injuries back to back. But what we're seeing this year, to me, is a new Paige Bueckers. And I don't want to say a 2.0, but to me, this is a refined version of Paige Bueckers. Paige dropped 32 points against Syracuse to get UConn to the Sweet 16, 11 rebounds. 4 steals, 6 assists. That's a complete stat line. But for a lot of people who are watching Paige this year, especially in March Madness, you're kind of sitting there and thinking like this is new for her. But honestly, it's a reminder of what she was already doing before the injuries. The conversation that was on First Take this morning was who had the more impressive night, Caitlin Clark or Paige Bueckers. And I sometimes hate the conversation of it because I always tell people Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark have two completely different styles of how they play basketball and how they affect the game. If you do ask me, I do agree. I think Paige Bueckers had the more complete night overall because I have said this ever since her injuries. I believe Paige has understood how she can affect the game more than just scoring. And I think she's more efficient. And defensively, that is what I have been impressed on, where it makes her an all-around player. Caitlin had 32 points last night, yes, but she also shot really horribly. 8 for 22, 5 from 14 from the 3. That's not a very efficient night, right? But you still got the win. But I understand people are saying, well, Caitlin Clark had the better season. I believe that a lot of people in women's college basketball have a lot of recency bias. When you have players that have been injured, like a Paige Bueckers, and you haven't seen her in a while, you start to forget who they really are and what they were doing before the injuries. Whereas the biggest name you've heard in the last 2 years of women's college basketball is Caitlin Clark. So everyone's always going to say, well, better season, better performance, better all these things. But if you're watching Paige, you're sitting there saying, now, wait a minute, I've seen this before. She's done this at a level before her first year of college. Yes, she's had injuries, but she's still doing it now, even in a better refined way. So I believe a lot more credit has to go to Paige, especially with how March Madness is going. And we know she is meant for big moments. This brings me to Coach Gino Auriemma coming in the post-game conference. I don't want to say he's playing a little mind trick, but I respected what he said, which is, we have the best player in the country. And for a lot of people, they'll say, well, coaches always say that about their players. One, I know he believes that. But two, it's almost like a Jedi mind trick because you're also trying to send reminders to other teams. Like, if you forgot who Paige is, I'm here to remind you. Like, she is who she is, and she still is one of them ones, all right? Like, she's still a dog. Don't let those injuries fool you and make you think she still ain't got that in her. She's done this before. And I felt like I love that he did it because not only does it make you as a player feel better, I'm sure she's heard it before, but that makes you feel good going into the Sweet 16 where every team is really good and the competition is even greater, where you kind of got to put that out there for others to know, like, look, I get y'all saying y'all got this, y'all got that. And I get we had some tough moments in this season of UConn and injuries. But, like, Paige is that one. She that dog. She one of them ones. And I'm here to remind y'all of that. And I love that. I like that Coach Gino Auriemma said all the stats, the analytics, all the things say she is the best player in the country. You ain't got to believe me, but that's what it is. And you need that going into tournament time, especially the Sweet 16. That's all for me to say. Don't be out here sleeping on Paige buckets, man. Don't be out here sleeping. She's still one of them. She's still one of them. And I believe this Syracuse game was very important for this UConn team, but especially for her. Not just to remind yourself, but to know, like, man, I worked to get back to these moments, to these March Madness moments. I couldn't play last year. So if you think I'm out here playing with y'all, I'm not. Do not let these injuries fool y'all, which I feel is a warning that Paige Bueckers, Gino Auriemma, and UConn are trying to send to everyone. Don't get messed up over here because you thinking I'm lacking, because Paige Bueckers is not lacking. She is ready to take March Madness by storm again.